And we're back. Excuse me. So, back to Michael versus Dave, or French. Earth versus Warrior of Light. What's really interesting again is that Mike is using 3 Warrior of Lights himself at the moment. So it's almost a mirror match, just a mono element with a bit of light against a very multiple element deck. So what Michael has got on the field at the moment is the light Warrior of Light, which gives all other Warrior Lights 2k damage less that's dealt to them. We have Woe in the middle, which has the combat phase buffs, and you have Ingus on the far left, which is causing a lot of light reflection, so I do apologise if you can't see that, which gives all Warrior of Lights plus 1k and Earth forwards. So all forwards there on Mike's side buffed by 1k from that card alone, and taking 2k less damage. And on French's side, he's got the 3 cost Warrior Lights, which will give each other 1k, so they'll currently be on 9k each. And the light Warrior of Light giving them all 2k less damage. So 2 very strong fields. Something that we're not used to seeing from French is him having only just 1 backup out. He likes to play his backup strong and fast at the beginning of the game. So it's quite interesting seeing with so few. Mike using Minor, which when it comes out retrieves a backup from the break zone to the owner's hand, so you can essentially pay it for free. And Dogart, which gives a forward Brave, I believe. I may be wrong. Excuse me, may be wrong on that. That's another swing, strong swing, getting that Warrior of Light in the damage zone. So passing to French now. French turn, activating all his forwards. See what he comes with. I'm really interested to see if we're going to see some backups played by him, as we do. There we go. So for anyone who's never played Final Fantasy or new to the game, what backups do is they're essentially like lands. If you've played Magic the Gathering, you can tap them to give yourself what's called CP in this game to allow you to play forwards onto the field. You can do it in 2 ways in FF. You can discard a card, which allows you to get 2 CP from hand, or tap a backup for 1, and what they generate is CP of that element that you discard or tap. Now you can mix elements, and as long as they've got one of the elements paid for the card you want to bring out, you can. So for instance, you could tap an Earth backup and pay a Fire backup to bring out a 3 cost of either Fire or Earth. One of the backups that French does have out, which is Cosmos, which is the light coloured card, and although it still only generates 1 CP, it can generate of any colour, which is very handy to have in a deck like his. It allows him to guarantee he can get the CP, the element colour that he wants, to be able to play any card from hand as long as he has the follow-up cards to pay. So Chirag, you called it on being Mike versus French, but who do you think's going to win? Both strong players in store. Both had their chances at making it to nationals and just missing out, but still very strong players. And you know them both personally. So who are you gonna put the win on? I mean, I can't call it. I watch these guys play, through the week, every Monday night. They, as I say, French never settles on just one deck. He likes to shake it up. He likes to try different ideas out. I've played this deck and I've lost this deck actually. I've lost to both decks. I've also beaten both decks. Interesting, going for Mike. He is strong with his Earth. He's been playing it since Opus 3 now. He is very strong with his Earth. Now French has only just added Ishtola to this deck, and he's not going to like to see it in the break zone, because Ishtola's effect is it can essentially stop a summon or auto ability from going off by putting itself into the break zone. And for his for his style of deck, he's going to build up a lot of forwards, build up a lot of field, in which people like to play a certain earth backup called Shantoto, which removes all from the field without any repercussion. You can't, unless you manage to bounce your forwards back to hand, or for example Stola's effect cancelling it, there's no other way to get round it. Mike, however, is seeing that Ishtola's in the break zone. He's playing even stronger field. He's just done Yang Ursula. Now, the way he works around it is Yang is a 4-cost forward, and if you have Ursula in hand, you can play her onto the field free when Yang comes out. And what they do is Ursula gives Yang plus 1,000 power and brave, so it doesn't tap when it attacks, and Yang gives Ursula plus 3k. So they end up as both 9k forwards, Yang having the bonus of being brave. As he has Ingus on the field as well, they're both earth forwards, they will both now be 10k power. And again, Yang being brave at 10k, even the Warrior of Light is going to struggle to block him with his 2k damper. If being an earth player, Mike has any sort of golems or titans or anything he can use to buff or just get power up to just completely destroy the Warrior of Light. And when the Warrior of Light goes down in this is an interesting EX burst. So this is where he gets to pick one of his forwards, deal their amount of power to one of French's. Now he can't respond to it and buff them, but he can essentially do 10k to one of French's forwards, and I believe that should be enough to get over one of them and break them. So he's just making his decision, taking his time. So he's taken it. It's actually not enough to break it. I do apologise because they'll be up at 9k, take 2k less. Very nice. No, it's not quite how it works, Shirag. If Mike wins, I'm definitely not buying you Nando's. But we can discuss. At the moment, it's an interesting game state. I mean, Mike has taken 5 points damage over French's 3, but it's by no means a clear-cut game with such a strong field out on both sides. I know Mike is still going to want to see a Shantoto in his hand, because if he does, essentially he can just swing for as much as he wants. French can block, he can take the damage. He'd prefer him taking the damage, and they can just Shantoto and clear the whole board out. And it would just come down to who's got the backups and cards in hand to still play forwards onto the field. Mike's just checking his break zone at the moment. I'm guessing he's contemplating using Minor to get a card back to hand. There we go. What is Mike going to bring back? So he's bringing back Cecil. Interesting. Cecil will be an expensive forward, which I don't think he can get onto the field this turn. Or he can. See how many cards he's playing. Yep. He now gets to break one of French's forwards equal or less to the amount of damage he's taken, I believe. So Mike checking what cards French has in his break zone, stopping him from being able to pull back from hand using his backup. So the only problem is when he passes his turn and he already has it in hand, if he does, that is. But we'll see. go. So he's using the wall to give Ursula Brave, and he's going for a party attack of 20k. So surprisingly, we did not see French block that. It's a very, very strong powered attack. Will we see another party attack, I wonder? Contemplating whether to swing with Warrior Light or not. It's a risky business. I don't know if he's thinking about what would be interesting. Is he could swing with both Ingus, and he could have swung with Ingus and Wall there. French would only have been able to block with one forward, but both his forwards would have taken 2k less due to the Warrior of Light effects. Again, you know, I've guessed French would find his way of getting his Warrior Light forward back out. So Mike now down to the front zone. Frenchman Mike's going to have to block here to stay in the game. So it comes down to who does he block with. He could block with either Ursula or Yang. I don't believe they'll die, but I believe that neither will French's forwards due to the 2k buffer from the Warrior of Light. Yes, they do know that you're watching them, Shirag. They do. So you may have added more tension to their game, knowing that when they see it at the weekend, you're going to hurl abuse at whoever lost. Mike's turn now. French with the 10 each now. The Warrior Lights on French's field. So Mike's going to take some serious chances to get over him. However, in my calculations, he could party attack with 2 just to get through some forwards and give him enough to swing through for game, having that many forwards on the field and Wild's ability. But I might be wrong. So Mark playing a cockatrice there for not enabling the Warrior of Light's block in this combat phase. So French has got the 3 cost Warrior Lights being able to block, taking 2k damage less than on 10k each. So he's going to need to be at 12k at least to actually break one. Oh, interesting. I think French is choosing what forwards he wants to block against to take out scary forwards on Mike's side of the field. He's thinking, but will he commit? quick maths is something Michael definitely doesn't do. He likes to take his time, likes to be thorough with his thinking before he commits to anything. It's worked for him in the past, but he's going to work for him today. He's gone for a party attack there with 2 brave forwards, and Frenchie's taking the damage. So it now puts it at 6 apiece. Whoever gets the next point of damage through will win the game. This is definitely crunch time. Passing to French, so got 2 strong fields. There's going to have to be some blocking one way or the other in this turn. Let's see if French can actually come back with anything to just take that extra point. So you swing with Ingus first, all at 10k, take 2k less, so Mike's going to have to block with 12 to remove the forward, otherwise he's just going to die himself or bounce. French with 4 cards in hand. So he's blocking with Warrior Light there, I believe. Is now French has paid out everything in his hand. So Phoenix, the Warrior of Light, and remove him from the field after the block and take enough damage to kill him. So what's strong about that is now that Wall and Ingus are all going to take solid damage. They're not going to have the ability to take in 2k less. This is going to move forwards on Mike's side of the field for sure. You'd like to think so anyway. So we've got Arc swinging, 10,000 power, taking 2k less. At this point, Mike's going to start losing forwards, and it's going to be a tough way for him to try and get it back. With 4 forwards still swinging, including Arc, on French's side of the board, he could wipe out all 4 of standing forwards on Mike's side of the field. Depending on what cards Mike's got in hand will depend on whether he can, lose a couple of forwards first before he makes his strong play, allowing Frenchie to dull a lot of his forwards. But then again, I'm sure Frenchie's going to go through with all of his 3-cost Warrior Lights before he goes to the big boy. So here we go, seeing 10k's just being bounced away as if they were nothing due to the Warrior of Light's 2k buffer. I would expect Refi to swing next before Warrior of Light to try and take the game. French is having a look in Mike's break zone now to get an idea of what he could or could not have in hand. There we are, Refi is going for the swing. Good news is for Mike, he can at least hang on this turn. Still with Ingus and Wall able to block. What would be handy is if he did have a Golem or something in hand to buff one of his forwards enough just so that they don't too, and it could be a bit of a phantom block. So blocks with Ingus. Wall loses the buff. Oh, French passes turn. Making sure he's got himself a blocking forward. So as it stands, Wall can buff himself or Cecil in the start of the combat phase. The problem is it's not going to be enough to kill Warrior of Light at the moment, since he's sitting on 12k, taking 2k less damage, so he needs 14k of damage output to actually be able to get over the Warrior of Light. The only way I could have seen him doing this is with Cecil's special. I don't think he's going to have to. I think he's just overly thinking that if he can do anything to, change the outcome of the game. So, he's played Daddy Loom onto the field. I don't think this is going to be enough, unfortunately, Chirag. I think it's got to the point now where he's just delaying the inevitable with such a strong field on Frenchie's side of the board. Daddy Loom, when he's targeted or takes any damage, gets to deal out 4k. It's just not going to be enough. It's just not going to be enough. He hasn't got haste either, so he can't swing this turn. At best, he could party attack and kill Warrior of Light, but he's not. He's past turn. Don't think he has any cards in hand. But Wild's come onto the field, 5 cards, try and get himself a Warrior of Light. Has he done it? I don't know if he's managed to pull one from the pile. I think he might have run out. But still, it's another body to the field. Swing in. Like Warrior of Light sitting on 12k. I don't believe that for a second. You've got Age of Sigma tournament to try and win this weekend, young sir. But you can have a go at Mike for letting yourself down if he doesn't. I mean, if he managed to pull something out of this bag, I think he should win the whole night just off of that alone. But I just don't think he can physically do it. So he's blocking with Daddy Luma, dealing 4k to something else. Again, block and then swing for game. There we go. That is game. And just so that you know who wins, there we go. So that is Dave the French, who has won that game with his very multicoloured Warrior of Light deck against a very game Earth deck from Mike there. We'll be back very soon with round 3, so don't go away. Again, guys, just keep chucking questions up. If there is anything you need to know about the store, about FF, about anything else we've got going on in the store, anything about our Twitch or our YouTube, make sure you subscribe. You'll get told about anything that's coming on. We've got giveaways and all the streaming you could possibly want.